Thank you. How you doing?
Carbon Leaf in the Bing Lounge. It's great to have you guys back in town. It really is. You know, since we last saw you, a couple of big change. Well, big change. Last year you left your label as Friends, as I understand it. So, what happened then? I mean, was it kind of a sense of relief that you're off kind of on ground zero in a way and starting off again in a different path?
It was kind of like revisiting our pioneering days when we started, where the future was really wide open, and we just wanted to have the freedom to write and release more music and stay in a creative state as opposed to a, write, release kind of market cycle.
Right, release to
Yeah, and of course we'll always still be doing that, but we just wanted a little bit more freedom on our terms to be inspired and stay inspired, release maybe some smaller projects and not just, focus on the cycle.
Yeah, it's like a big renewal.
It is, and it's exciting because right now you can reach people so much easier on your own, and there's a lot of options out there for bands.
Congratulations on, you don't really know where you're going, but it seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that your road brought you back to Portland. No Expectations is the way that the people over at Oregon Music News Blog sort of headlined you when you were talking to them. I kind of think, though, No Expectations, don't you have like one eyeball kind of like, oh, maybe we do. Maybe we do.
Our expectations are to continue, getting along and being friends and trying to get better and finding what it is that inspires us about music. And I think any band will go through a cycle where they're perhaps doing some things for the wrong reasons, and it's a learning process, just like anything in life. You try some things that are risky, and sometimes it's a good risk, and sometimes it's maybe a misguided risk. And so for us, we just want to kind of keep pure to what we do, and all the guys that are pursuing different inspirations musically and bringing it back into the pot and seeing how it defines Carbon Leaf.
Yeah, it's a great sound. It really is. We've had the pleasure of your company for several trips through Portland. Actually, I know through our performance lounge, we've got you. I consider you like old friends practically. And Portland is such I hate to say hip city, but yes, we are.
It's okay to hip.
Yeah, we're going to hipify. Have you had a chance to get to know the city at all? Do you ever have time when you come through these? You're doing Mississippi Studios tonight, but
yeah.
I know it means rushing over to that great neighborhood.
Today we had a little adventure. Where did we go? To some old hotel that's been converted into a restaurant, like McMinimans or something. It's
McMenamins?
Yeah. McMenamins.
Even longtime Portlanders can't get that one out.
It's like walking into the Overlook Hotel. You expect Jack Torrance to be serving
blowing glass, in a shed on the way in.
Well, but to answer the questions, all that. It's a compound. Yeah, it's crazy. It's tough because you roll in, you set up, you play, or if you're lucky, you get to come in and do things like this, and so you don't exactly get to see as much as you want unless you have a day
everybody
off.
was like, what are you doing on your day off in Portland? We had yesterday off, and it's like, whoa, we're driving 600 miles from San Francisco and getting in at midnight. There's no day off.
15 hours
Yeah,
traveling.
and then tomorrow it's off to Spokane, so it's, unfortunately we don't get to really absorb the city like we want, so it's just little bites here and there.
Yeah, because you always get people that are like, come out, we'll cook you dinner. There's some places that we want to show you, and it's like, well, if we're lucky, we'll eat standing up before the show, and but it's all good. I mean, I think you go through enough times, and if you're aggressive about getting, taking little bites out of the city as you come in and go, you eventually get the flavor for it.
Yeah, I think you will. I just wanted to give a shout out to the peeps listening on the stream. This is the first. Thank you so much, Carbon Leaf, for being in the Bing and letting that happen. That is so cool. Very, very nice.
Thank you.
Love that.
This is amazing, by the way.
Yeah. The Bing Lounge is fantastic. It seems that you guys have taken this kind of a nonchalant, no hurry, just kind of letting it evolve sort of approach to your career. And I wanted to get a little insight from you, because a lot of bands, when they get started like you guys did at the beginning, you did cover songs. And then you start going, okay, are we going to do this for reals? Is this going to be a real thing? What kind of covers did you do? And then how did you make that leap? Okay, somebody in those bands got to write a song.
Well, when you start out, you gotta play 4 hours a night, and since this is the only band we've ever had, we didn't start out with 4 hours of original material. So you write 4 songs and you think you've conquered Everest, and that takes you through 15 minutes of the night. So you got to fill it up somehow. So it was Neil Young, Dinosaur Jr., The Pogues, Camper Van, Beethoven, REM.
Grateful Dead,
Yeah,
Fish, whatever.
anything.
We were in college when we were doing this, so it was kind of like, you know, it was at that time you didn't have any ambitions. It was just like, what's the shortest road to being popular with your friends? You know, it's like,
I've heard that before.
like, you know, and you do. You're up there and you're 18, 19 years old, and you're like, this is awesome. We are amazing. We are blowing people.
We are as good as the Red Hot Chili Peppers now.
We are blowing people's minds right now. But yeah, you definitely grow out of that, and I remember very, very specifically coming back from a show and just thinking we've got to, you know, I'm over this. We've got to start seeing if there's anything else beyond kind of that. So, and we did, and it's been an evolution, and glad we pulled the trigger.
Barry writes all of our lyrics, and he's always been a writer. You know, he's an English major in theater, and he's always been writing even before he became a singer and in the band. So it was sort of a nice next step in the evolution was here some tunes we wrote some chords to, and you know, Barry's like, okay, I'm feeling this, you know, and it all became just a natural extension of his writing, you know, and a good outlet too. So it sort of was a nice melding of the, you know, two worlds for Barry, I think. So it was a very natural next step to put all of that stuff to music.
Yeah, and you get confidence and all that, but you don't mind revisiting covers either, though, do you?
No,
From time to time.
I think a 2-hour show for a band, you know, to put a commercial break in there is a fun thing for everybody. We don't always do it, but if the spirit moves us.
Well, let's move some spirit here, guys. Carvin Leaf in the Bing Lounge. Back to you.
So we'll do this. On that note, we'll do this little ditty.